And with parenthood, you realize really quickly the kids are always watching, right?
Right.
And
Yep.
you notice it now, and just because it's like, if you want to buy a car, you start seeing that car everywhere. But when you're a parent with children, you notice other parents who are maybe not being the best, most responsible advocate for their children. They're acting out that, and the children just follow suit because we're always some form of our parents, whether we like it or not. And so if we're going to tell our kids it's constantly okay just to give up and constantly okay just to not try, and that's probably why we're starting to fall behind as a country, because it's constantly like the easy thing. Like everybody gets a trophy. Okay, like I got it, but what's that teaching the kids? Well, you don't have to try that hard. You don't have to go the extra step. You don't have to do much because you're still going to get a trophy. So why do it? Or you can't get your shoes on. No worries, I'll help you. Or any of those points. You don't want to eat your dinner. That's fine. And we're now instilling that into our children, and that's why we're probably going to continue on this decline until the curve stops.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, for instance, like the 100-mile race that Jason just ran. So what was it, like 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, we found out that Jason actually needed a crew and that he couldn't do it without it.
Right.
And we asked people if they wanted to come with us, and we couldn't get anybody. So who crewed for him? Myself and our 3 kids.
Gee.
Wow.
I was actually
And it was
100% true. I was actually fine without the crew, but not fine without Peely. And so the breaker here was though, but we
made it happen.
Just made it happen.
And
And that's kind of like parenthood, right? Like,
Yep.
it's like there was that NyQuil commercial where you see the picture of the parent. He's like, little Bobby, I'm just not feeling good today. I just don't know if I can be up for it. And you turn around, there's like a little baby in the crib. It's like where there's like no time. And that's like NyQuil comes up. Well, that's like that's parenthood. Like you need to get it done.
Right.
Because the kids aren't just going to figure it out when they're like 1 and 2. You need to get it done and be a responsible parent and make it happen. And that's really like where you go with life too. Like you set you up, you need to get it done. It's your role, it's your responsibility, it's your duty to get it done.
And back to the 100-mile race, though, why I brought that up was because I've started to walk home with Luke because I don't like the cold.
Mm-hmm.
And part of 75 Hard is that you have to have one workout in the cold. So I run to his school and we walk back. And that takes us about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway out during our walk back, the second day we did this, Luke starts like complaining. He's 5, so of course he's gonna complain. It's cold. He's like, "Mommy, why didn't you bring the car?" And I was like, "Remember that race that Daddy ran?" He's like, "Yeah, 100 miles," because I told him he should run 100 miles. I was like, "Yeah, remember that race?" So it's a mile from your school to our house. He's like, "Okay." I was like, "Daddy ran 100 miles." And his eyes just went huge like saucers because he didn't fully understand what Jason was doing.
Right.
But by showing him like the distance of a mile, and then in his brain, he's like trying to like transpose it into 100 times.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It was like an aha moment for him. And that's the kind of aha moments that we want to give our kids.
Right.
That they can walk a mile,
Right.
2 miles, 5 miles, a marathon to 100 miles. They can do this.
I was just thinking because I ran a 51-mile race, and Luke said, "Okay, you should do 100 miles." And I said, "Okay, thanks, Luke." Like right after that, and then, but here we go. Right, I get done with the 100-mile literally at 4 a.m. He wakes up at 5 a.m. and so I get no doubt, and I just take him to breakfast, and he goes, "Daddy, you just finished 100 miles." I go, "Well, you should do 1,000 miles."
Oh, wow.
So there's never an end, right? There's always the next step, right? So what's next?